Who are the Ghetto Boys, you might ask? This question opens a remarkable yet tumultuous narrative woven into the fabric of South London's urban history. Before we delve into this investigative documentary, here are some quick facts to set the stage. The founding location of the Ghetto Boys was New Cross, South London, England. Their years active? The 1980s, and they are still presently slightly active till this day in different factions. Their territory: New Cross, Deptford, Lewisham, SE8 and SE14 in South London. Their ethnicity? Mostly all the members of the Ghetto Boys are Black British, but there is a small collective of other ethnic minorities involved. How many members does this group have? A staggering 500 plus members. Their activities? They deal in mostly petty crimes. Do the Ghetto Boys have any allies? The Broccoli Crew, Tottenham Crew and the YG Broccoli Crew. Do the Ghetto Boys have rivals? Yes, their rivals spread across Catford, Peckham and Woolwich. So the Ghetto Boys appear to be a group of many talents. Now that we're all on the same page, let's begin then, shall we? The Ghetto Boys, a street gang that has its roots in the areas of New Cross, Lewisham and Deptford, was born in the heart of the Woodpecker Milton Court estate. Formed predominantly of Black British members, the gang's age range was startlingly broad. You could witness males in their 20s mingling with those in their 50s, both claiming affiliation with the same gang, the Ghetto Boys. The gang is associated with the colour blue due to the local usage of blue by the Lewisham City Council. The gang had a notably violent conflict with the Peckham Boys during the 2000s, but by the mid-late 2000s, the Ghetto Boys were in decline and would end up splintering. Younger members of the gang formed the Shower Crew and later became associated with the Tottenham Mandem, collectively calling themselves Shower Syndicate. It is alleged the group had links with the Jamaican gang, the Shower Posse. Around 2010, an offshoot group from the Ghetto Boys, known as 814, began to gain prominence in the UK drill scene. Their reputation was as chilling as it was notorious. Known for carrying heavy firearms, including the Mac-10 subby, they were a formidable force on the streets of South London. The Ghetto Boys trace their roots back to the 1980s when they were established in Woodpecker Estate, affectionately known as the Ghetto Estate, in Lewisham, South London. The gang later expanded into neighbouring boroughs, recruiting members primarily through word of mouth. During this period, a rivalry emerged between the Peckham Boys and the Ghetto Boys, a conflict that gained widespread news coverage in 2006. Reports in 2007 indicated that the Peckham Boys and Ghetto Boys had been engaged in a conflict spanning approximately 2 decades, passed down to each new generation of the gangs. In the 1970s, tensions existed between African communities in Peckham and Caribbean communities in Deptford, leading to rivalries and conflicts. Even local football matches would often result in violence. Ghetto Boys members would sometimes travel to Peckham to commit robberies, avoiding targeting their own communities. By the 1990s, the gang experienced a decline, with many older members incarcerated and younger members in internal conflicts. During this period, Ghetto Boys members in Catford separated from the gang, forming their own group, Leadership Within the Ghetto. Boys changed hands over the years, with a notable leader of Nigerian descent named Andrew Wanogo, also known as Sparks, emerging in the late 90s. Tragically, Wanogo was killed in 2006. He was attacked in Broccoli, South London. In October 2004, an infamous shootout unfolded between the Peckham Boys and Ghetto Boys outside the Urban Music Awards, hosted at the Barbican Centre in London. During the exchange, at least 18 blasts were fired, and a stray blast struck an innocent bystander, Helen Kelly. Miraculously, the underwire of her bra deflected the blast, preventing a fatal injury. Linton Ambersley, a Ghetto Boys member from Lewisham, was later sentenced to 12 years in jail after confessing to wounding with intent. Then, the year 2006 witnessed a surge in violence between the Ghetto Boys and their rivals, the Peckham Boys. In September, the Ghetto Boys carried out 2 drive-bys in Peckham. 2 days later, 2 males were attacked in Brixton, allegedly in retaliation. Subsequently, members of the Peckham Boys entered New Cross, then considered the territory of the Ghetto Boys. An argument ensued at a party, with accusations of disrespect towards their respective gangs. The altercation resulted in one man being hit with a bottle. 2 days later, a contingent of 40 Peckham Boys descended upon New Cross on bikes, armed with an array of prohibited items. Among them was Jason Gale Brent, a former Ghetto Boy member and a relative of Craver, Young Craver, and Smiler, members of the Ghetto Boys. Despite his past affiliation, Jason had distanced himself from gangs and gang violence after surviving a violent attack in his youth. Approximately 30 Peckham Boy members rode down the street on mountain bikes, opening fire on Jason and his two acquaintances. A brawl ensued, leading to Jason being fatally attacked. It is believed that he was mistaken for a member of the Ghetto Boys. As of 2010, the attack remained unsolved, along with 5 other recent attacks on the Woodpecker estate. On the same night, a man in Deptford was chased by a group of 30 to 40 males and attacked, although he survived the attack. Following Jason's passing, a group gathered outside the Community Action Centre in Deptford. A handheld device was discharged, prompting the pursuit of a man on a moped. The chase ended in a crash, and the man was caught by the males, who proceeded to attack him. The subsequent evening, an incident occurred in Peckham. 3 men arrived at a basketball court, shouting disrespectful words towards a rival group, before pointing a handheld device through the railings and firing. Fortunately, no one was injured. The police later arrested a man and a girl, seizing a handheld device, a Mac-10 subby, and other prohibited goods in the process. In October 2008, during an exchange of blasts between a member of the Ghetto Boys and a Peckham Boys member, a tragic incident unfolded as Polish care worker Magda Bniewska was struck by a stray blast and passed away. This shootout occurred in New Cross. In the same year, law enforcement took action, arresting numerous key figures and leaders of the Ghetto Boys, as well as members of other gangs in London. By 2008, after decades of conflict, the Peckham Boys and Ghetto Boys reached a surprising agreement for a ceasefire and alliance. A witness to an attack in 2007 reported that the Peckham Boys and the Woolly Road Youngers had formed an alliance with New Cross and Deptford, areas controlled by the Ghetto Boys, signalling a potential end to the conflict. However, it was noted that some elders in the gang considered such an alliance disrespectful and were skeptical about its longevity. In 2009, reports surfaced indicating that the gang had started to decline, attributed to the increasing prevalence of addiction and the incarceration or passing of key leaders. The Ghetto Boys experienced further challenges as the group began to splinter and fragment into subsets, eventually evolving into independent gangs. One such subset that emerged from the Ghetto Boys was Shower, spelt Showa, formerly known as the Younger Ghetto Boys. Additional splinter groups included the YGB Gangbangers and D-Block, Deptford. Notably, subsets like New Cross Ghetto Boys and Deptford Ghetto Boys distanced themselves from the gang, leading to heightened infighting among the various groups. The passing of Ghetto Boys leader Andrew Wanogo in 2006, as he was shot in Brockley, southeast London, played a pivotal role in triggering the fragmentation. Wanogo's passing was a significant factor, contributing to the internal divisions within the gang. In the wake of the weakened and fragmented state of the Ghetto Boys, a new gang, Black Mafia, emerged in the late 2000s in Lewisham, superseding the former gang's influence. In mid to late 2010, reports emerged of a new faction known as 814, which had branched off from the Ghetto Boys. This group found itself entangled in conflict with Splash Gang, SG, a gang based in Grove Park. Notably, 814 gained recognition in the UK drill scene. The gang 814 included key figures Shoki and M. Both members of 814 and prominent figures in the music scene, met tragic ends in separate incidents. M. carried out a fatal attack, while Shoki faced a similar fate, being fatally attacked in August 2016. The year 2019 witnessed the cinematic portrayal of a fictional story inspired by the conflict between the Peckham Boys and Ghetto Boys in the film Blue Story. In 2021, Joshua Ero, also known as Lil M. and a member of 814, received a 14-year prison sentence for the fatally attacking another individual in the chest. This saga appears incredibly complex, marked by the Ghetto Boys undergoing multiple cycles of breaking, fragmenting, and regrouping over the years. It's a challenging narrative that reflects the persistent challenges associated with gang dynamics. One can only hope that someday, gang violence in London will come to an end, and these groups will find a way to understand and reconcile. However, the future remains uncertain, and only time will tell if such positive changes can be achieved.